We have to live mercy and compassion. Now, given what that we now know about these victims, and most of them are no longer children, of course, and victims of all different types of abuse, it will be good for us to look for their pain in society. We talk about praying for victims, and we must, but we also need to minister to them in the places where their wounds may have taken them. Maybe to alcohol, to drug addiction, maybe to mental health distress, maybe even to crime or prison. To be clear, most victims I know have triumphed over their assaults and are doing just fine. There's a lot of talk about things like justice and resignations. And although we want justice, and we may see resignations, we can run the risk of turning tragedy and a robust call for change into a circus. None of these bishops should be standing alone, whether they made mistakes or not. Now, clearly, we don't support mistakes, but we certainly are called to support people as they acknowledge their mistakes, aren't we? Isn't this who we are? Where there are problems, we should fix them, and God would want this. God would not want a fragmented church in Ireland. As I look at this and pray, I feel concerned about a few things. First, we see again the house of mirrors effect being used against the priesthood. Remember I talked about when you go to a carnival and they have a house of mirrors, everything is distorted, right? And what was fat looks thin, and what was tall looks short. Nothing looks accurate in a house of mirrors. My friends, the same way, pedophiles do not represent the priesthood. They don't. Everyone is looking at the priesthood. Okay, most pedophiles are married men. That's statistically just the truth. Over half of those convicted in the United States were married men. Now, can we say that being married causes pedophilia? Should husbands be ashamed to be husbands because some husbands are pedophiles? We have a lot of husbands here tonight. How would you feel if everyone was looking at you with suspicion? It would be ridiculous. The professions that come up for pedophilia in a casual search are scientist, policeman, painter, coach, teacher, plumber. It runs the gamut. A mother in Ireland was recently charged with dreadfully abusing her children. And I was, like everybody else, I was appalled. And I thought, there must be something wrong with her. She must be struggling in some way. Now, if someone had pointed to me at that time and said, you mothers, you're all alike, I would have said, I'm not abusing my children. I'm doing my best to take care of the children God has placed in my care. And I suspect that most priests feel the same way right now. The priesthood, like motherhood and fatherhood, is a sacred thing. And when someone misrepresents Christ and there is betrayal, it cuts very deeply. But we have to encourage those around us to avoid the trap of ridiculous generalizations. Another distortion out there is that celibacy causes pedophilia. Now, this is like saying that if we try to control our sexual urges, we will become deviant. This is nonsense, handed to us by a culture that has become so sexualized that it believes nobody can or should control sexual urges. My friends, if this were true, we would all have to be locked up. We're all controlling our urges right now. Well done to us. Don't fall for this. Celibacy carries huge graces. This kind of thinking shows why we need Theology of the Body by John Paul II, as well as Natural Family Planning. These two beautiful teachings help us to understand that our sexuality is perfectly compatible with the holiness taught by the Catholic Church. Yes, I see several temptations associated for us in the Irish Church at this time. It's clear that the enemy wants to separate the sheep from the shepherds. He wants the priests over here looking at the people, and the people over here looking at the priests, with this divide between them. This is disordered. The clergy and the laity and our church leaders together must look at pedophilia and all other types of abuse. And this is what we're doing. There is no disunity. We all agree God's children must be protected. Another temptation is one of being tempted toward a paralysis in the work we do for the church. You know, after surgery, a body is physically a little bit stunned.